Weber State has great scholarships available, ranging from 4,000 for the year to 8,000 for the year.
If you have a really good GPA, your likelihood of getting a higher scholarship is even better because of the fact that you're applying with a high GPA.
Whenever you come to the US to study, one of the advantages is actually getting to work in your field after.
The accreditation that they have for their business school is a coveted one. Welcome to the recap of our very first university forum held on February 3rd last week, Monday, 1 week from today. And we are just going through some of the highlights that stood out to us. So Vonnie and I, we are here. We're just going to discuss really quickly some of the things that we talked about and how we think those things can affect you if you are thinking of starting your university education in the United States, and more specifically at Weber State University. So Vonnie, I'm happy to have you here so we can discuss this pertinent topic, because I think a lot of these things may have been discussed and people may have missed it because they didn't get to attend, or, you know, with a lot of information coming at you, you could overlook certain things. So we just wanted to do this recap so that people can go back to some of the information that was discussed, and hopefully you can make a decision from there as to if you want to look into it some more and see what decisions you want to make. So, Vonnie, let's kick it off with first of all, the scholarships, because I think ultimately money answereth all things, but money is also, like a big concern for most people when it comes to university education and how much it's going to cost. And we know that as former students, studying in the US is not free. It's going to cost you something. So let's talk about the fact that, Weber State offers scholarships for international students based on their merit.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Timon. Everybody's interested in scholarships. So we'll definitely start off with that first. Weber State has great scholarships available, ranging from 4,000 for the year to 8,000 for the year. And every time I look at that, I always say, I wish we were born 10 years after, because these are excellent scholarships, especially because these scholarships, you get them from inception. Once you've qualified from them, you get them from inception, and you get to continue to have these scholarships throughout your school life. Once you keep up that 2.5 GPA, which is a very reasonable expectation. In addition to that, there are other scholarships available depending on the departments that you are in, depending on the major that you take. However, this initial scholarship for international students, that's a deal breaker right there.
Yeah. So I think, understanding the fact that these scholarships are merit-based means that the GPA that you're entering at the point of application with, that is what you would be awarded based on. So if you have a really good GPA, your likelihood of getting a higher scholarship is even better because of the fact that you're applying with a high GPA. So, the logical thing to do is make sure you maintain really good GPAs so that when you apply for these scholarships, you can earn the maximum benefit that your GPA affords you. So another thing that we talked about and I found very impressive is the fact that Weber State University has over 200 programs that they offer. And, the fact that you have an option where you can apply for a particular program, and there's so many to choose from. Even if you don't get the very specific thing that you want to do, there might be a tangential program or a related program that can apply. So if you're thinking about applying, you might want to check out all of those options. Check out the undergrad options, the master's degree options. There aren't as many PhD programs, but you can check those out and see which ones you may be interested in. But I think having over 200 programs is a very good thing for a student who wants to apply to Weber State University.
Definitely. In the meeting, the international director, she was very helpful. There were a lot of students that were asking about different majors, and even if the major wasn't one that the school offered, she gave an alternative. And we've been through, as we said, we're former university students, and this is not always the norm in each university, where you would get a range of different majors, and also majors that can be easily converted into your career, into many different fields, into fields that are needed and fields that would basically be the better type of fields for Caribbean students to get into or international students to get into.
Yep. Yeah. And along that same line, one of the things that I found was very impressive is the fact that you as a business person, Vaughn, you could maybe speak to that, is that some of the business programs are STEM, considered to be STEM degrees, as in science, technology, engineering, and math. And we know the benefits that come with STEM degrees. And I guess you can talk a bit more about the fact that business programs actually provide that opportunity so that you could qualify as a STEM student with the OPT benefits and all of that. But I think that's a really great thing too.
Yeah, traditionally, business programs never were one of the STEM degrees. However, because of the increasing component of technology in business, and I would say accounting, especially because that's my field, because of the component of math was always a component. However, because of the combined components of math and technology that's being used in business, it has been classified, not all, but there are many business programs now that are actually classified as STEM. So as Timon did mention and he touched on it, the OPT, which is a training program that allows you to work in the US in your field of study, it actually gives you a longer work permit when you have done a STEM degree. So that's something that is of interest to a lot of students, because whenever you come to the US to study, one of the advantages is actually getting to work in your field after applying all that education into a practical work environment. That's something that's very important. And it's, when you look at it in comparison to working at home, there are a lot of different things you can learn from working in a first world country.
Yeah. And, added to that, to the accreditation that they have for their business school is a coveted one. I think only 2% of universities in the United States have that particular accreditation. So, you can go on the website, you can find the accreditation. But at the end of the day, I think the fact that you can get a STEM degree in business and still get get a degree from an accredited university that is coveted like that, it gives you an added benefit for employment.
Definitely.
Yeah. Another program that they had that I think is of growing interest to many people is environmental science and the research that they do. So, just to quickly mention it, I think if you are a student who's thinking about science, but you're not sure exactly which area, you might be interested in looking at what environmental science programs they have and how that environmental science aligns with maybe some of the things that you want to accomplish, your skill set and all of that. So all of those programs, they fall in that same area of STEM, and they provide you with the added benefits as Vonnie mentioned earlier. The English proficiency exam, that's another thing that she spoke about. That's typically an exam where they try to determine your level of competency when it comes to writing English. So if you are a language speaker who's predominantly an English speaker, like Caribbean countries are, you get this particular waiver where you don't have to take that exam. So how beneficial is that to students, Vonnie? Because I think that's one of the things that could be very attractive.
It's very beneficial. For one, there are many universities that require this, even if your native language is English. As Caribbean students, you still need to do that program, that exam, to be able to basically convert your language into basically a merit-based program where it would put you into English classes if you need to go into an extra class. So that could make your studies longer. Longer studies, more money, right? So you're getting to save more money. You're getting to basically not take an exam that we do not need to take, and anything that you can take off your plate, then that's always an added advantage there.
Something too that she mentioned that I think ultimately can benefit all students. So it doesn't matter what program you do or, what's your interest in while you're there or anything, but the Career Center is a very critical part of the success of students. They can have the opportunity to to get their resumes checked and reviewed, to get help with preparing for interviews, to possibly get leads on finding jobs and all of that. So, I mean, those are just things that, can benefit you in the long run. So I think the services that they provide, aside from what you learn in the classroom, is as critical to your success. And I think Weber State does a great job of doing that. So I'm sure, Vonnie, you would have used that type of service when you were at university too. So maybe even tutoring services and all these other things. I mean, there's so many.
Yes, I was deeply involved in that, especially on the tutoring side. The career services center, that's something that many students, unfortunately, they do not take advantage of. You want to start looking into this, not only when you're coming to the end of your studies, but you want to be doing that throughout your studies. As you said, Timon, it can help you develop relationships, increase your network, with different businesses. They do work with a lot of local businesses, and their alumni is very, very, very involved in that. So they were very explicit in saying that as well. So whenever you see a university or a school mentioning something and promoting it, these are usually the strengths. So speaking about that career center, that was a great thing, because you don't want to finish studies. You start your OPT, your work permit, basically. Time is going down, and you can't get a job. That's one of the worst situations you could be in.
Another thing that stood out to us, because we talked about this before we jumped on this conversation here, is that the classroom sizes, I mean, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty small for such a large university, because their university has over 20,000 students, but yet still you have a ratio of 20-1 when it comes to professor to students. So, students to professors, I should say. So at the end of the day, I think that's a very helpful thing. You get to build connections with your professors. You're able to build those types of connections that could find you a job later on. You increase your network because you get to meet someone who's maybe an expert in a particular field. And you possibly can get someone who can recommend you for a future career. So I think being able to know your professors so that they can help you during classes and give you that type of personal help that you might need is crucial. But it also has its long-term effects in terms of building your network and gaining knowledge that you would need to apply to your other jobs, that your career path in the future. So very, very crucial.
I think it will help you be a little accountable as well, because you can't hide in the class.
That's true.
You can't go in the back of the class and put your head down, because, I mean, it's from 20, if 20 is a max. I mean, come on, you can't hide, and actually it will help you stay on point as well. So if you're someone that lacks a little discipline, that might be the area for you.
Yeah. So the classroom sizes, very good. Nice size, manageable sizes for professors so that they can build those connections. Very good. Just to wrap up this conversation, there are two more things that I have here on my list of things that we identified as outstanding things. And I know you've talked about this many times, because you said, if I was a student, I would definitely be going to Salt Lake City at every occasion I get, every opportunity I get. They have free transportation for students. I mean, come on. That is really, really, really helpful. And I think added to that too, it's not just for exploring purposes, but if you are living off campus because you didn't decide to live in a dorm or something like that, there's an opportunity for you to find housing just outside the university, and then you find transportation that can take you into school on mornings or whenever you have your classes. So, I mean, that's pretty crucial, Vonnie.
And to be explicit, the transportation is not just within the university or close to the university. You have free student transportation all around the state. So the city, you can go to Salt Lake City, which is, I can't remember how far the commute is, but you have transportation with buses, trains, once you have your valid, student ID, and they know that you're a student of Weber State, and you're pretty much good to go. You can go get groceries. There's so many things that you do, you're living there. So people thinking, it's not only going to be about going to classes or anything like that, but any single thing that you need to do, just having that availability of free transportation that's a big headache that comes off your head. And your, parents, guardians, everything, they can feel rest assured that, they don't have to, have an extra worry on their plate.
Yeah, that's true. And the last thing that we found very impressive about the what Weber State has to offer is the outdoor experiences that they mentioned. Because as you may know, Utah is known for skiing and stuff because they have mountains, they have snow. Salt Lake City hosted the Winter Olympics in the past, and they're going to be hosting it again. So there are a lot of outdoor activities that you can engage in if you like to hike and all of that, because it's important to get outside of the classroom, get outside of your dorm or your apartment and go see the world and enjoy being in the US and enjoy what it has to offer. And there are even other experiences that you can take into your classes, Volley, because of these outdoor activities.
Yeah. And I was saying that even some of the electives, so usually when you're in school, university, you can get a chance to do an elective that's related to some sport or something to that nature. You can actually take part in these activities, in these sporting activities such as skiing, as part of your school elective. So, you're having fun and you're getting your grades for that. That's a great combination. One of the things, it's not necessarily outdoor, but Weber State is the alma mater of Dame Lillard, famous basketball player. We're both huge sports fans, and he actually comes in every now and then. I particularly ask that question, if he comes in. So he's still involved in the university. So you can get a chance to see one of the most famous basketball players right now. So that for me, that would have been a huge. I'm thinking I'm going back and probably going back to school right now. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I know you're a big NBA fan and a basketball fan, as we both are, but I know that there would definitely be something you'd love to do.
Trust me.
Yeah, so ultimately, the conversation with Weber State University was great. We learned a lot about the university. This is not going to be the only conversation that we have. We are going to be having other conversations with Weber State, but we also plan to have other universities doing the same thing, talking about what they have to offer so that international students understand the options that they have. So ultimately, I appreciate, the fact that Ioana was able to jump on and really talk to people and take their questions, answer as many questions as she could, as they came along. So it was a great experience. And as both Vonnie and I said, if you are interested in learning more about Weber State University, you can reach out to us at globaled@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at Global Ed Recruiting Agency. So those are ways you can get in contact with us. This is just a brief recap, just a synopsis of what we felt was the highlights of that meeting, but we do hope to hear from you. If you are interested, you can go to their website at weber.edu and you can find out all of the things that we talked about. You can see those things on the website. And we can have more conversations if you'd like. So reach out to us and we'll be happy to do that with you. Vonnie, any last words before we wrap up?
Just want to say that this is just scratching the surface of the actual conversation. So, it's great to have this recap, but it would always be better to actually be in the forum, be able to ask any questions that you have, speak on any concerns that you have. Stay tuned for 2025. We're going to be doing more and more of these. And yes, just stay tuned and just looking forward to seeing you there.
All right. So thank you very much for taking the time out to look at what we have to say and to listen to us today, because we think obviously the conversation would have been a beneficial one to many of you. So if you are interested, reach out to us and we look forward to seeing you next time.